In a recent video, I spoke about refinishing antiques, and this week I'm going to concentrate on just those aspects of refinishing furniture. I'm going to go over some of the problems and solutions that I've seen, and some I've heard of but haven't even tried yet. I sure don't know everything there is to know about refinishing furniture, but I'm going to try to list just a few easy solutions that might help you too. The first thing I'm going to go over is repairs. When should we use putty, and when is it better to carve in a new piece of wood? What I often consider first is how big is the repair spot? Secondly, where is the repair? Is it near a joint or is it on the face of, say, a drawer? Do I need a matching piece of wood to carve in? And do I have one? Is it a dent that I can add steam heat to and remove the scar instead of filling it with putty? Now, some of these things are simply my opinion and my method of operation that you can disagree with, and that is just fine. But, for instance, when I have a drawer that has a broken corner, and I see so many of these, they must happen during moving and people drop them and they just often get dented or chipped. For these, I most often use an epoxy putty. I know that bond will be strong and not likely to chip off again with normal use. If I had an exact wood species to the broken corner, I would definitely consider carving it in, and for this I would use epoxy glue, but only if I have a matching piece. I'm interrupting this dialogue to explain why this chiseling is taking me so long. The wood grain of the inserted piece is not horizontal. If I dig way in with the chisel, my cut will follow along the grain, down and into the surface rather than skating across it. This is one of the tricky parts of inserting a new piece of wood into the break. For dents and creases, applying moist heat can sometimes lift the fibers of the wood back up and make them less noticeable. And they don't even need to be filled with wood putty, and this is a great fix for dents. I never throw away a chip of wood that I find when moving my piece of furniture around, and I keep bits and bobs of wood for future repairs. Nothing is too ugly. I keep them in a box. I keep every piece of veneer because I will eventually use it. I even dug up a good-sized piece of veneer out of the dust of the lower part of my oldest section of barn, which was around 1800. I cleaned it and gently stored it away. It's very friable. In other words, it doesn't bend. It's completely moisture-free. But I've used that veneer to repair 3 separate pieces of furniture so far after I found it last year. And it takes dye, it takes the shellac, and it stays in place. And I am so glad I didn't throw it away. I often use wood putty for simple dents and tiny corner chips. I've used wood putty mixed with dyes and paints to fill in small areas. Sometimes if I have an edge of multiple tiny chipped and jagged veneer, I fill these with wood putty. And lately I found the powdered wood putty that can be dyed before you use it. You just mix it with water as you need it, and there's no waste or little waste. This is also a good thing to do when you want to fill the wood grain. Say for some reason, say you wanted to paint an oak surface and the wood grain is really deep and you want a smooth surface to it, and you don't want to use shellac, or you're not that invested into it, and you know it's going to use paint. Using a light mixture of putty is very beneficial because you'll fill in the loose grain, and the paint will be much smoother when you look at it. You won't see all that rippling on your paint surface. And you can always use the wood from your sander mixed with glue and dyes if you like to hide things like nail holes or dowel spots. What about you? Do you have any other fixes that you do around situations like these? And would you leave a comment and tell us what you do and share the joy? Let's talk some more about veneer repair. It's tricky, but it's lovely to do. The hardest thing is coming up with a piece that fits your grain and species of wood, but little pieces are so satisfying to do. You really should try it because I think you'll fall in love with it. If you like wood, you'll love to repair veneer. Usually I'll start by spraying on just a bit of shellac. Shellac will reveal and enhance the natural color and grain of the wood, and sometimes we don't even need color once the shellac is on. And we'll talk more about the shellac later. Performing wood repairs often need glue. So let's talk about some of the glues we might see, such as hide glue or CA glue. When do I choose to use either of those? CA glue is technically cyanoacrylate or superglue. It's a fast bonding glue that reacts in the presence of water. So that's why you'll see somebody spraying a little mist onto the surface before they use superglue. It can be really handy when you need quick, tight bonding. Epoxy glue is a two-part adhesive of epoxy resin and hardener, and there's also epoxy putty. This is great when you're repairing a wood joint where excellent bonding is very important. Say if you're repairing a chair leg. Hide glue is an adhesive made from organic or animal hide, and it's very useful for at least two reasons. One, it's reversible, and two, it's historically appropriate for your older pieces. A downside is it has to be heated to be used, but I love using it for applying veneer or securing dowels or other unions that you might have to repair again one day. They can be loosened again just by heating. And also, if there's hide glue on the application already, your new hide glue will bond to it naturally. Other types of glue include polyurethane glue, such as Titebond. This is a great adhesive. It's stronger than wood and even gives epoxy a run for its money in the strength department. And let's talk about shellac. Shellac is a resin that's secreted by the female lac bugs in India and Thailand and maybe other places. Organically, it's wax alcohols and acids. It dissolves in alcohol, which is why we use alcohol to test if a surface is bonded with shellac. Shellac, to me, is the ultimate miracle chemical and has so many uses. It's beyond even the scope of one single little video. And here's just a short breakdown of shellac after reading about it recently in order to make this video. What I learned is it's been used for at least 3,000 years. It's been used for dyeing silk, in cosmetics, as an adhesive on pottery, in setting gems into swords. It's even used on some gem grinding wheels. I believe they use it on grinding wheels that form or shape jade. It's been used in medicine, it's been used as an emollient, and even in veterinary medicine. It's used on animal hoofs. When the hoofs crack, they fill it with shellac. It's used to protect museum art and even seal plaster walls. We use it as a protective wood finish. It was a very popular purple-hued dye, and now we see it bleached to an almost clear varnish. Shellac came to America in 1849 from Europe after being bleached in Germany. William Zinsser, I know that name is familiar, a bleaching foreman, emigrated to the United States from Germany in 1849, bringing with him the bleached shellac. He set up shop in New York City and started the first shellac bleaching facility. Shellac is super user-friendly. It plays well with your other products, either under or over them, and you can apply it as you like. It's most often the first finish I put over my prepared wood. I'll often add color over it. You can add more shellac over your dye. Shellac itself seeps into the wood grain and hugs it very tightly. Several layers of shellac will fill the grain in the wood. Shellac can be sanded, dyed, and even used as a polish. Think French polishing. I've even added chalk paint to shellac. I've added wood stain to shellac. It dries almost immediately after applying it, though you want to wait a little while till it's no longer tacky before you sand over it. One of the repairs that I haven't tried yet will be covered in an upcoming video. I hope you watch it. This is where I angle the dowels to secure a wood surface prone to warping to prevent further warping. We can learn the results of this together. Let's take a look at some of the examples of the topics we covered today and see how they turned out. Carving in a new piece of wood. Filling in the grain and smoothing the grain with wood putty. Veneer repair. All the many wonders of shellac. Dyeing and staining shellac. Using shellac to enhance the natural grain of the wood without dyes. Veneer repairs and dyeing veneer. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you learned a bit of something from it. We're all learning all the time. By the time you're seeing the video, it will be Easter Sunday Eve. I hope you've had a lovely day and that this Easter and Passover brought you renewed hope. I think we can all use that. I want to wish you all good and beautiful things. See you next time, and thank you again.